Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So today, let's talk about Bitcoin. What happened today? Bitcoin went up despite something happening. So let's talk about that. But more importantly, let's talk about what BlackRock's secret crypto play is after Bitcoin. So let's talk about these things and more. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. Look at this. Despite today the U.S. markets crashed, Dow down 530 points, and NASDAQ down 228. So today was not a good day. The VIX went up. Those are not good things, but Bitcoin went up. Bitcoin went up. It's 68,000 right now. It was as high as 68.8, right? Why did Bitcoin go up? Well, there are a couple things. Number one, this guy right here, a Fed president, said that the Fed may not cut rates if inflation is sticky and the market, of course, tanked. This guy's always bearish. I mean, he's always talking about elevated rates, more rate hikes, keeping the rates higher and longer. This guy, I don't know why he's a Fed president, because all he does is scare the markets for some reason. But the thing is, the main point of this is inflation. Inflation is a silent tax, so never, ever, ever go away. And that's why more and more people are turning to Bitcoin when they hear about high inflation. That's the only way to protect yourself. If you have a whole bunch of fiat, you're watching it slowly disappear. But if you're holding hard assets like Bitcoin, you're seeing the price go higher and higher and higher and higher. That is one of the reasons. Even Cathy Wood agrees with me. Bitcoin's a hedge against horrible government fiscal policy. I mean, that's true. I've been talking about that for years now. If you understand how the governments work, how the Federal Reserve and central banks work, I mean, if any individual operated like that, they would have been bankrupt long time ago. The only reason why the U.S. doesn't go bankrupt is because we have good credit rating still. That's why we're able to borrow a lot of money. And number two, we have a money printer that we could turn on and print as much money as we want anytime. We have no debt ceiling anymore. We somehow voted to get rid of the debt ceiling until 2025. So unlimited amount of money can be printed at any time. Think about that. Think about if you could print your own money in your house, well, then all your money problems goes away, right? That's basically what it's like until it's not. So that's why we need Bitcoin. And that's why Cathy Wood and so many other institutions are buying it. We have 10 ETFs out there, and there will be more coming. But these 10 ETFs already secured and bought close to 3% of the entire supply within a matter of months. Now, who's buying? It's people like Cathy Wood and Michael Saylor and Robert Kiyosaki and everyone else in between, Mike Novogratz and Paul Tudor Jones, all these guys, and of course Larry Fink, and so many other institutions and companies. They are FOMOing in because they know inflation is going to be a real issue that the Fed cannot solve. So the only way to beat it is to buy assets like Bitcoin. Honestly, that's really the only answer. So that's number one. Number two is, well, you know what? Today, the outflow from Grayscale still down. 3 days in a row, we have minus 100 million. Okay, so that's positive, but it's still a lot. 79 million flew out of Grayscale's GBDC, right? I mean, it's still flying out. But the good thing is the other ETFs are soaking it up. That's why we're starting to see some momentum. Bitcoin is starting to climb back up. All good things right before the halving event, which is only 15 days. That's 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks until the most bullish event the most bullish catalyst, I should say, for price appreciation for Bitcoin. Okay, just take a second to think about that. The number one thing that causes Bitcoin to go sky high in price of every cycle is the halving event. And it's coming in 15 days, guys. 15 days. This is the reason why you want to stay strong. You want to stay focused. You want to continue to DCA and HODL, because life-changing wealth is coming around the corner. And in case you're wondering, well, what's the big deal about the halving event? What, who cares? Well, this is why you should care, because, the very first halving event, we saw Bitcoin go up 92x afterwards. Then the second one went up 30x. The last time, 8x. This time, even if we go up 5x, okay, not even 8x, if we go 5x from our current level, we're talking about Bitcoin around $300,000 to $400,000. So this is the reason why you should care about the halving event, because the parabolic phase is coming right around the corner. And of course, where is Bitcoin going to end? Like I said, it could be $300,000, it could be $400,000, right? Maybe if it doesn't go that high, maybe it does a 3x or a 4x, we go to 200, 250,000. Hey, that's quite okay. That's quite okay. That's pretty large number. Anything above 6 digits, things are going to get really nutty and really crazy. So just think about that. All right, so that's what I want to start with. A couple reasons why Bitcoin is doing well today and why it will continue to do well going forward. But you know what? Today I want to talk about BlackRock's secret play. What is their secret play? There's something else that they are working on, okay? And that is RWA. It's one of the big narratives of this cycle. Real world assets, more importantly, tokenizing real world assets. Okay, that's what BlackRock is focused on. I actually saw an old interview that I'm not going to show, where Larry Fink talks about how after ETFs, the main focus, the stepping stone, is to tokenizing assets, because he believes that is the bigger play. There are so much assets out there to tokenize. We're talking about $100 trillion worth of money out there, okay? A lot of that is debt. A lot of that is treasury bonds and notes and other things that I'll talk about. But it's a massive market, and that's what BlackRock wants to go after. In fact, they just came out with a fund, a $240 million fund, to do just that, to start tokenizing things and getting involved with many things. So let's talk about some of these projects that relate. Number one is Ondo, which actually has been on fire, okay? Ondo is all about tokenizing. In fact, they are adding 95 million of their own assets to BlackRock's fund, their Buildo fund, okay? So which is quite a lot. But what are they about? They are about tokenizing yield and treasuries. It's kind of boring, but it gets better. Not all tokenization is boring like this. But hey, if you wanted to buy, say, US treasuries, and you're living in, I don't know, Spain, or you're living in Australia, you have no access to US treasuries, right? But now you do through Ondo, because US treasuries are now tokenized, and you could buy that token and get the APY, right? See, that's the main benefit from tokenization, because now it becomes global. You can have access to it anywhere, okay? And they also tokenize yield, but this is not open to US residents. But yeah, so this is one example of tokenization, right? Tokenizing US treasuries, but honestly, this could expand to treasuries of any country. So if you wanted exposure to, say, treasuries from, I don't know, from Europe or from Mexico, I'm just throwing out examples. I don't know if these are good examples, but if you want to do that and think about it, you could also tokenize stocks too. There are companies that are not listed in the US market. You can now buy tokenized version of that stock, right? And vice versa. And other people from other countries could buy stocks from the US, like for example, Tesla. If you want to buy Tesla, or you want to buy MicroStrategy, or you want to buy Coinbase, you want to buy Nvidia, you can't do it from other countries. But if you tokenize it, or the stocks, I should say, you can, right? So, I mean, this is one example. And Ondo, their market cap is about 1.1 billion, which, they have climbed up really fast. But overall, their total value locks about 223 million, which is still quite low if you think about it. Okay, so that's one example. Now let's look at another example that's really kind of crazy. Okay, if you're a DeFi guy, this is your thing. So there's another project called Pendle, okay, which actually has they're bigger than Ondo. And they have more TVL, so their market cap is higher, their TVL is higher. Okay, so what does Pendle do? I mean, they do something really crazy. Okay, so they do tokenization of yield, which is really wild. So I'm gonna try to explain it as best as I can. So you can see this picture on the left side here of Ethereum, right? So let's say you could stake Ethereum and make 4.5%. Okay, that's great. So now what you can do is you can split the yield into a token, and then you have a regular principal token. So you could convert ETH into two tokens, a principal ETH token and a yield ETH token. And why would you want to do that? Well, because then you can bet and trade them. And, with DeFi, if you think, let's say, for example, a yield may change and get higher or lower, right? That may be a reason why you want to buy the principal, or may be a reason why you want to buy the yield. So you could do a lot of crazy stuff with this. This is another example of tokenization, right? Hardcore DeFi guys will love stuff like this. Like me, I wouldn't touch it because I just don't understand it enough. But there are a lot of hardcore DeFi guys that are really good with math and calculating how to optimize yield. This is one of the ways, right? So this is another example of tokenization, and Pendle is actually leading the space in this because their market cap is quite large. Okay, so these are kind of I would say, boring stuff, but important stuff. Let's look at something else that's in the RWS space that makes more sense, some real world stuff. Here's another project I found, and BlackRock also is in this space. I saw this article. BlackRock teams up with Warner Brothers, and they have this $750 million fund to buy music and copyrights to those music, right? So why would BlackRock or anyone want to do that? Well, of course, to make money, but you could also tokenize it. Okay, so there is a project called Opulous, which people have asked me about. And they're doing exactly that. They're tokenizing music assets. So this is exactly what I think BlackRock wants to get into, and what it's an industry a lot of people want to get into. Music is obviously really big, right? And Opulous does two things. They have the finance division and they have their music fungible tokens. So they have two different things, and it's kind of quite interesting. So their finance side allows you basically to kind of become an investor. So I was looking at this. I'm like, how does this work? So you could actually stake your stablecoin, in this case USDC. They will use your stablecoin to go acquire more music and rights to music, and then they will sell that to streaming services, for example, Spotify or Apple or whatever. And then whatever they collect, they will distribute it back to you. So that's a really interesting way to make 10% APY. So that's one of the things they do with music, is they actually go buy it, They tokenize it, and then they give you a reward, right? Well, in this case, not tokenize it, but they do give you a reward. But then they also do tokenize. They have something else that's kind of like NFTs called MFTs, which is basically like fundraising for music artists. So basically, you're buying, like, you're giving money basically to an artist that you want to support. And then if that artist blows up and collects a lot of revenue, you get a percentage of that. That's basically what this is, right? So this is an example. Opulous is example of tokenizing music rather than, say, yield or bonds, you know, treasuries or stocks. This is a real world example of what you can do with music, right? So kind of interesting. So that's another example of what you could do. But what about something physical, right? What about tokenizing, say, real estate? Yeah, that exists also. So a project like Propbase is exactly that. You could buy fractional real estate, okay, something physical, and then you could earn from that. And you could also sell that and trade that as well. Those of you guys that own properties know how hard it is to actually sell a property. There's a whole process that you have to go through, and it's just a mess, a ton of fees, everything, right? But something like tokenizing real estate, what you could do, since you own a fractional ownership, you still earn fractional rental from that property, so that's good. And there's a P2P marketplace so that you can actually trade that anytime. So if you want to buy fractional ownership of a property from someone else, you could do so. You could sell it to someone else very easily, and it's all based on tokens. That's it. So you don't have to worry about a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the headaches, a lot of the fees, all that nonsense, right? So here's another example of tokenization. So overall, there's a lot of projects that's already involved with RWA. A lot of great things going on, still very early, but that's the beauty of it, because you could take advantage of these opportunities, right? So, all right, guys, let's do some Q&A. Did I say Q&A or did I say DGen chat? Because that's usually what Q&A is now. All right, let me scroll up here. Let me see what I missed. Let's see. XRP ETF is coming up fast. I don't know about that. What if we have World War III? As long as there's electricity, we'll be good. Let's see. You hate Stellar, but they hold over 50% of all tokenized assets in the world. I like to see where you got that from, because I don't believe it. I can't pronounce that. $5. Dotheus is something like that. Thoughts on staking Big Red on Trader Joe? Bullish? Yes, a lot of people started doing that today. It's part of Trader Joe's new program. You only have to stake one side. You don't have to stake both sides, which is quite interesting, because usually for liquidity pools, you have to stake both pairs and you have to worry about impermanent loss. In this case, with Trader Joe, you don't. It's part of their the Avalanche Rush program or something. So yeah, if you hold Big Red, stake it. Send to a cock. And then you get rewarded in cock and AVAX or Joe. No, Joe or something like that. I have not had time to do it, but a lot of people told me they did today. Heath, if BRC20 narrative takes off, do you think that will pump Bitcoin that much more, or is it too big? I think the narrative only just started. There's still so much that's being built right now, and yes, it only helps Bitcoin get bigger and stronger. Anthony, large $20 super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. Success kit on Solana, next blue chip meme. We'll agree to disagree. Today, Solana, man. Solana, there's so much meme activity today. Solana kind of crashed. They didn't officially crash, but man, I had a hard time trading, trying to get into a new meme that I knew was going to blow up, but I couldn't get into it. But there are a lot of opportunities. Like I said this morning, all right, I got a vibrant meme community in my Discord, which you can only access through Patreon, right? If you guys love DGen chat, you want to chat with others and learn about new memes and discuss memes and do research on memes, you guys need to join Patreon and join in the chat, because a lot of good info, and a lot of good info about non-memes too. And plus, I share some winners sometimes. I was gonna share one today again. It just couldn't do it. You know, like Costco hot dog is at 88 million, almost back to $100 million. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And Bull, which I showed you guys this morning, I think it was like 5 million, 10 million, whatever. It's up to 12 million. They got to 20 million today. And I found this yesterday in one day. Sub 1 million. That was a pretty good find. But there's others out there. There's so many others out there. Let's see. Why do you think Algorand's pure Python integration hire Android executives as CMO? I'm considering getting Algo, but I'm not sure. You know, I don't know. I don't know. They need to separate themselves somehow, right? I didn't hear about those things, but you know, they had a rocky past, but I think, you know, I think they'll get through it. They're still one of the big L1s out there, right? And as long as they continue to push, they'll be okay. Is there something wrong with Solana? Disappeared from wallet and then came back. I don't know what disappeared. You get around to the num analysis yet? No, I'm sorry. I got a really good idea for a meme, but I'm not gonna do it. But I have a really good idea of what could work out really well. What market cap can Big Red reach with everything they've done? $1 billion. Okay, maybe they could reach 10 billion, maybe 100 billion. Maybe it'll become the biggest meme on the planet. Who knows? Let's see. Hi, George. I know Cardano's not your favorite, but where do you see Cardano this bull cycle? Can it reach all-time high? I think so. Cardano can. You know, Charles this morning answered. He was thinking about fighting Anatoly from Solana. And then he didn't answer back when I asked him if he was really serious. But I'd love to get that going. But yeah, because of Charles, people love him. People love Cardano. It'll get back to his previous high. Can you explain Zeus and how it connects to Solana Network BTC and what that means for the two? I can't tell you because I don't know how it connects. It's probably above my pay grade. But it just... I guess give me some time to kind of look into it. But from my understanding, if you can bridge Bitcoin to Solana, that's pretty big. I mean, if you think about, like, for example, DEXs, wallets, and everything else in between, normally speaking, okay, you can't go straight from, let's say, Solana to Bitcoin. It just doesn't happen. But if you can bridge Bitcoin to Solana's network, then you can play with real native Bitcoin. You could play with wrapped Bitcoin. You could play with BRC20. It's all possible, right? And from my understanding, I think that's what Zeus does. It creates that bridge, but it's probably a lot more complicated than that. So I have to do some more research into it. George, Barron Trump mooning, is it a good meme? I don't know. I don't know. Anything with Trump in there, I avoid. Nothing political ever does well. Thoughts on XRP stablecoin? Well, I don't know why all of a sudden people are talking about XRP today. Because it's up 2%. It's still below 60 cents. What's the difference between your $15 and $30 Patreon? If you read, the description tells you the difference. Just read it over and you'll see the difference. But I'll say this, both of them will give you access to Discord. Okay, so but it's the difference is whether or not you get invited to the events and a separate newsletter. I was wondering if you have any idea when Avalanche would be listed on Coinbase. I'm almost positive Coinbase already lists Avalanche. There's no way that Coinbase does not have Avalanche. That would blow my mind. Yeah, Coinbase has Avalanche. Are you talking about Avalanche tokens? That may take a while, but Avalanche itself is definitely on Coinbase. Can you incorporate profit taking into DCA night? Well, I won't be taking any profits until like Bitcoin is well above 100,000. But eventually, yes. If Bitcoin hits like 150, 175, 200,000, I may start taking profits from that DCA portfolio. But right now, I'm not thinking about profits. I think that person was asking when Avalanche-based tokens will be listed on Coinbase. That'll be a while. Good meme name would be Pluto Dog. I don't know about that. That's not. Please don't retire, bro. I can't make promises. After this cycle, if it's as good as I think it's going to be, end of 2025, not only will I retire, you'll probably retire. Everyone watching will probably retire. I mean, it's going to be absolutely insane the amount of money that'll be in this space. And we will see craziness that we haven't seen before in any previous cycles. What do you think about Rivian stock? I would short it to zero. Rivian's going to go bankrupt. There's no way they could survive. Zero chance they're going to survive. That's my opinion. I always thought it's possible to tokenize stocks and then transfer to my ledger, not your keys, not your stocks. It is, but there's very little projects that are doing so. And it's not like authorized, I guess, right? I think there's things that there's still some rules and regulations that need to be approved for stocks. But yeah. Could history repeat itself? Sheeb with hat. No. If you're wondering if it's going to repeat like Sheeb, no. That's a pure copycat. You can't have copycats. Copycats will never be as good as original. So all the new memes that are doing well are all original. They're not copycats. Like Costco hot dog is original. Is Palm AI actually associated with Google? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Arizona iced tea road to 99 cents. It could. I saw they gave me a shout out on their X because I gave them a shout out. I think the founders docs, and that's a big thing. You know, they had a big pump, and then now they're slowly coming back. They could have a chance to do some greatness, I guess. XRP is the end game. The end game of what? Losing patience? I don't know. Man, bull has been crazy. Crazy for a single day. I'm hoping that it can turn around and get back up to 20 million. It's #1 in volume on Solana. I mean, do you know how hard it is for new projects to be the #1 volume leader on Solana for all the memes? Costco Hot Dog is #5. Bull is #1 above Whiff and Meow and Slurf. That's kind of crazy. And Hobbiz. What do you think about AI coins like 0x0, PAL, Desync? I mean, I've heard of them, haven't done deep dives into them. So AI space is kind of still kind of the Wild West. A lot of big promises. Whether or not they're actually doing anything is a different story. But I'll be doing, like today, you know, I went over tokenization and RWA. In the future, I'll do more videos about it and more videos about other narratives like AI and memes and everything. There are a lot of narratives. They're all gonna do well. DJ 81 Lean. Why does Porsche allow these crazy markups in your opinion? Will you ever see direct-to-consumer sales like Tesla? No, because they have these dealership networks that basically control the manufacturers. I've actually spoken to people from manufacturers before. I'm like, why do you allow, you know, these dealerships to do what they do? And basically they said they're under their control. In the nation, there's only like 2 or 3, you know, dealer like conglomerates or whatever, dealer networks, and basically manufacturer sells to them, and then they sell to the dealership. See, that's the thing. You think the manufacturer sells to the dealership, it doesn't work that way. So those guys mark it up, and you know, the manufacturers have no choice. And there's a lot of like laws and union stuff and all this stuff that's mixed between. And you know, the only reason why Tesla can do what it's doing is because it's new. It doesn't have to deal with all that nonsense. But all the other manufacturers does. All right, there's no need to have TA done on Costco hot dog, okay? You just enjoy it like the real thing. A lot of XRP guys in here. Why are there so many people talking about XRP today?
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.
All right, hopefully that satisfied you, XRP fans. If you retire, who will stop us from buying XRP? No one. You are free to buy it. I'm not stopping you guys. You guys can buy as much XRP as you want. My portfolio, 50% in cock and 50% hot dogs. I don't know if that's such a good portfolio. They said that XRP announced they're doing a stablecoin. Is that true? I did see that. I didn't talk about it. It was running long, but I saw they're coming out with something that's going to compete with Tether and USDC. But they don't need to. They already have XRP, which is the most stable coin of them all. So I'm not sure why they need to come out with a stable coin. Do I have that video ready for every stream? Yes. I have a dedicated button just to play that educational XRP video. You missed my question. You actually didn't type a question in your super chat. DJ81 Lean. Please explain the point of it. Shane. Shane, do you need to watch it again?
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.
Okay, now do you see the point? I don't know if you saw the point. The OGs will understand. Rich says, gee, I have portfolio Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, ADA, Stacks, Injective, Sui, Say, Bonk, and VeChain. Thoughts? I mean, that's a pretty good breakup. I'd say, you know, like Bonk really has lost his momentum. I'd say Whiff is a better hold than Bonk at this point, even though I know Whiff is a lot bigger. So, but outside of that, I think everything else is pretty solid. Crypto Royale, you must be an OG to remember my old dog. Yeah, he was good. He was always behind me in my old streams. No one could figure out the point of that video. Come on, you guys can figure it out. All right, guys. To conclude, you know what? Bitcoin jumped up today. A lot of reasons why. So I explained it. And also, you know, BlackRock, I'm going to watch out for what BlackRock is up to. But one of the things is tokenization. And there are many projects in the space that are concentrating on just that. So stay strong, my friends. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later.